Here we are once again, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Living Hope Today study. We're getting near the end of the book of Joshua. Today we're in chapter 23, and I just want you to think about this. You know, the older I get, the more I think age sometimes will bring wisdom. And to get the youth to listen to the wisdom of the old people is almost impossible. And today I'm going to show you in Joshua's life that he is doing his best to tell the people what really matters and what they need to do. As he faces his death, he wants to at least have this moment to make sure they have an opportunity to understand exactly what they need to do if they want to be experiencing God's blessings and God's favor. This is very similar to what Moses did. Well, let's just look at it briefly this morning. I call it choice and consequence because Joshua basically presents them with a choice and describes the consequence for any choice they make. Verse 1, after a long time had passed, so we have an indeterminate amount of time at the beginning of this chapter, the Lord had given Israel rest from all their enemies around them. Joshua, by then, old, well advanced in years, he summoned all Israel. So here comes the speech from the elder statesman who has walked with God all his life. He called their elders, their leaders, their judges, their officials. So we're starting with the leadership. And he said to them, I am old and well advanced in years. You yourselves have seen everything the Lord your God has done to all these nations for your sake. It was the Lord your God who fought for you. That's a key line. All right? We're not here because of our own strength. We're not here because of our own wisdom or our own military might. All right? Pay attention to why we're here. Okay? We're here because God has fought for us. All right? He says, remember how I have allotted as an inheritance for your tribes all the land of the nations that remain. Now, I want you to just pause there with me for a moment. Remember all those passages previously where the battle completely wiped out the enemy, everybody was killed? Now we see a verse like this in chapter 23, almost to the end of the book, the nations that have remained. So there are still people in the promised land, even though the text has told us that they've been driven out. So obviously some of that battle speech was hyperbole to say we had total victory on that occasion, not necessarily meaning that everybody was out. All right. So there are nations that remain. The nations I conquered, he conquered them, but they remain. Between the Jordan and the Great Sea in the west. This is the promised land, right? The Lord your God himself will drive them out of your way. So we're still looking at conquests here towards the end of the book of Joshua. He will push them out before you, and you will take possession of their land as the Lord your God promised you. So, even though we had total victory earlier in the book, we still need to have victory now. All right, to finish the job, so to speak. So now, in his elderly way, he starts telling them exactly what they have to do, and he says, first thing, you need to be very strong. What does that mean? It means your mind has to be made up. You have to be fully convinced that God is who he says he is. It means that you have to be fully convinced that God is as strong as God says he is. God will do what he says he will do. That you can trust him wholeheartedly with no reservation, that you just need to follow him in obedience and you're going to be fine. So be very strong. Second thing, be careful to obey. Look at your life. Are you doing what God told you to do? All right? He's not asking for us to perform mighty miracles and do extraordinary things except to say, will you just do what I say? That's it. Be careful to obey. Obey all that is written in the book of the law of Moses without turning aside. This is a key line, without turning aside to the right or to the left. So in your strength and your determination, don't waver. Don't head off in the wrong direction. Continue to review what God has said and do it. That's it. How simple is that? And so now he sort of delineates that and tries to kind of spell that out, what that looks like. So in verse 7, he says, don't associate with these nations that remain among you. Okay? No fraternization here. No intermingling. Don't marry their people. Don't let them marry your people. Stay separate. That's the instruction. All right? Do not invoke the names of their gods or swear by them. All right? So now what are we being told? We're being told you need to be careful, be strong, be courageous, obey the Lord. Don't go to the left or the right. Stay on track. First way, don't associate with these people that are going to take you off track. They're going to take you off track if you start to intermingle. So they're going to ask you to invoke the names of their gods. Don't do it. They're going to ask you to swear by their gods. Don't do it. You must not serve them or bow down to them. Well, then what are we supposed to do, Joshua? But you are to hold fast to the Lord your God, as you have until now. That's the instruction. Be strong. Don't go off to the left or the right. Don't hang out with these people. They're going to corrupt you if you do. They're going to entice you to serve their gods as well, which is something God abhors. It'll be disobedience instead of obedience. Hold fast to the Lord. You've been doing it. This old man gathers the leadership and basically says, keep doing it. Be strong. Don't lose your focus. The Lord has driven out before you great and powerful nations. To this day, no one has been able to withstand you. We've witnessed the power of God. Okay, we've seen it for ourselves. We've lived it. One of you routs 1,000 because the Lord your God fights for you, just as he promised. Your victory has been God's victory. You can trust him. So be very careful to love the Lord your God. If you know God is the source of your strength, he's your refuge, he's the one that's promoting you, pushing you forward to accomplish his purpose, what should you do? Love him. Obey him. Be strong in him. Be committed. But you know there's another side to the coin, right? Here it comes. But if you turn away and ally yourselves with the survivors of these nations, notice again, some people think, oh, God, in the Old Testament, he's so bloody, he kills everybody. And there are passages that say that. We've read them in this very book. But notice there are survivors. All right, so God eliminates some, but not all. All right. If you ally yourself with these survivors that remain among you, and if you intermarry with them and associate with them, then you may be sure, that the Lord your God will no longer drive out these nations before you. You're going to shut off the power valve if you intermingle. God's power is not going to be applied to your situation anymore. Instead, they will become snares and traps for you, whips on your backs and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land, which the Lord your God has given you. You know, God doesn't play favorites. You want to obey me? I'm going to bless you. I'm going to accomplish my purpose through your life. You want to disobey me and go against me? Well, all evil gets judged. And you're putting yourself right in the bullseye of God's judgment whenever you say to God, I don't like how you want me to live. I'm going to go live my own way. That's the point. Joshua's warning the people of making the wrong choice and describing the consequence associated with that choice. Now I am about to go the way of all the earth. That's Joshua. I'm old. I'm getting ready to die. You know with all your heart and soul that not one of all the good promises the Lord your God gave you has failed. This is a key point in the book of Joshua. Every promise has been fulfilled. Not one has failed. Think about that. God always keeps his promise. And Joshua is telling them again, God has applied his power. He has accomplished his purpose. He'll continue to do so. All you have to do is be strong, be courageous, obey. Don't turn to the left or to the right. Nothing he has said or promised has failed. He is completely reliable. That's the point, right? But just as every good promise of the Lord your God has come true, make the wrong choice, here's what's going to happen. So the Lord will bring on you all the evil he has threatened until he has destroyed you. I thought we were God's favorite. Well, God's willing to bless. God's willing to accomplish his purpose and lead. He's willing to apply his power. But you want to go the wrong way? You put yourself in the bullseye of destruction. And here we see it. Joshua 23:15. He will destroy you from this good land he has given you. God's willing to change the plan if you're not willing to follow him. Wow. Think about how that applies to our lives today. If you violate the covenant of the Lord your God, which he commanded you, and go and serve other gods and bow down to them, the Lord's anger will burn against you. And what happens? You will quickly perish from the good land he has given you. Wow, and that's where this chapter ends. Make a choice. And your choice is going to have a consequence. And one consequence could be blessing, could be the application of God's power to your life, the application of God's purpose being accomplished through your life. Make the choice to obey him. Great. Make the choice to disobey him. Guess what? Destruction. Destruction. I think it's an amazing choice to make, and to understand that God's consequence applies whether you should be getting the blessing or not. But even if he's promised you the blessing, your disobedience can wipe it out. It's a big caution for us today. We need to fear the Lord. Help me, God. We need to take what he says seriously and do everything we can to submit to him and walk in the truth and obey his word. With that said, church, I'll pray that God blesses you with that determination today to be strong and courageous and not go off to the left or the right. Serve him well today. God bless you.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus.